So, am I audible? Is it audible to all? Okay. Okay. So, actually, there is a problem with electricity as well as internet connectivity. So, I got a good chance, good opportunity to have our lecture. So, basically, we have started quite earlier, and just some of a couple of points are there apart from your our subject that I want to discuss with you, and then we'll start with our regular lecture also. So actually, this time, looking to the current situation, it looks like still 2 to 3 months more you will have to stay at your home, probably, right? And this is going to be a very see, for any kind of situation, that situation it doesn't decide, the situation doesn't decide that what is going to be effect of that on you. Rather, you decide that what is going to, or how the situation is going to interact with you, right? Are you going to respond it, or are you going to react it? Okay, so that is the actual issue. Okay, so whatever may be the current situation, or whatever may be the situation that will be in the future, or in the next 2 to 3 months, at all, if I want to say, you are going to have a good amount of time. And if you look at current things, and you have practice also, because see, to manage with the current regular academic part, you don't need so much of time. I mean, to clear the university papers and to get the good numbers, it doesn't take so much of time. Okay, so apart from that, you have good time, and see, this is the best time to prepare for anything, to prepare your mindset, to prepare for your goals, or if you don't have the goals, you can still set that goal. Okay, so see, and out of that, though you are currently, the thing is that there are very less opportunities with the government sector, because you know the situation what is going on with MPSC. So UPSC also might be possible that in this year, because of this, they will be not able to conduct the exams, government exams, maybe IAS or other UPSC exams. But see, you have one more year in your hand. So in this period, you can prepare for that quality exams, and whenever things will be open, whenever you will be able to sit for this kind of exams, that time you will have a very good kind of preparation if you invest this current time. Okay, so and though you are at your home, see, if you access the YouTube properly, there are so many channels whereby you will get good quality knowledge, right? So and one more thing is that in the last month only, we have purchased that Medici copies, because Medici has published its handbook, and it's a very nice book. If you see that handbook, or if you want to purchase it separately, you can purchase it from the Amazon also, right? So there is a like a mechanical engineering handbook by Medici, whereby you will have all the formulas, all the important points they have enlisted, or they have segregated, and they have make it in one book. Okay, so whenever you want to revise, whenever you want to recall all these things, you will have in one go, you can do that. Okay, and even the exams, like for exams like GATE, where most of the things are depend on the just transformation of the formulas. If you know the formula properly, you can easily manipulate that, you can easily get the answer. Just of this GATE, okay, where there are MCQs. So if you can, or if you have to purchase that Medici handbook for mechanical engineering, right? It is not only for GATE. They have mentioned all the things which is required for GATE, IES, PSU, all kind of entrance exams, right? So hardly it is costing, I think, 275 rupees. And if you are close to the Pandharpur, you can come to the college and you can take it from the library also. Okay. In the last month only I have purchased that. So this is a good kind of addition. And another thing is that see, this time we are having some different strategy for like GATE, IES, PSU. So what we are focusing this time, we are planning to have elite batch. Okay. Don't think it in a way that there will be a filter of percentage or marks. Nothing like that. Okay. If you are really interested to appear for uh, exams like UPSC, I mean for IES, not for IES, IES or PSU or technically any kind of exam, entrance exam, government exams, or GATE, basic GATE. Okay, so we are planning to have such a batch whereby with the training to that students who will be part of that particular batch, and not only from our faculties, it will be from the outside resources also. So you will be given kind of books, and whatever kind of support we require, that will be given. A test series, regular lectures, regular sessions, expert session, expert guidance, interview guidance, whatever required. Okay, for this government exam. So for trying to have that elite batch. Elite doesn't mean that there will be a filter of, again I'm repeating, there will be a filter of any pointer or percentage. Okay? It solely depends only on how much you are interested, how much you are keen for the same. Okay, so once I'll have the plan for it, uh, we'll have the notification for the same, and then we'll go ahead. Okay, so if you are ready to be part of that, it is going to be a very nice opportunity, right? Apart from GATE, it will have so many other advantages also, as I told you. Okay, so we are not going to only focus on a GATE. Right. Okay. So that's what I want to tell about. And again, whatever the training sessions we are arranging from our side, maybe kind of aptitude training session that we are going to arrange in the next week. So whenever these kind of sessions are there, don't be a casual. Okay. Now you are in a final year because yes, at the verge of completion of your degree. So at this time, you should be selfish about yourself. Forget about the institute, forget about the teachers, forget about the parents. You must be selfish about yourself because this is a good time to invest for you. Okay, so whenever this kind of things are there, so you should be with the proper attitude, the learning attitude, the receptive attitude. Okay, so be with that mindset. Whatever you will get, try to grasp that, try to digest that. Obviously, it is going to give some good results. Okay, so with that's what I want to tell you. We'll start with our regular lecture. Just a minute. Okay, so now hope I'm audible to all. If you are not getting my voice or if you are not getting screen properly, just unmute and tell me because I am on a different screen and I'm using a mobile, so I will not be able to read your comments. Okay, so if you are not getting voice or if you are not getting a screen, just unmute and tell me in between. Okay, otherwise I will be continuing without knowing that. Okay, so whenever you are having any issue, tell me. Right. So we have started with right. So we have started with our third unit, that is the design of the plastic parts. So basically, actually we have started part, then we have gone for weld processing of the different kind of plastic parts, and then the most important one that now we are dealing with the design of plastic parts. Right. So in the processing of the plastics, we have seen different kind of processes. Out of that, the important was injection molding, compression molding, transfer molding, blow molding. Now the way of carrying these processes are same. Molten material will be there and it will be transferred to the mold. Okay, it will be allowed to cool and then it will take the form of that particular mold, and finally you will get a product. That is the basic funda. Okay, nothing any different technology. So this is the common process for all kind of process. Only thing is that depending on the product, see, sometimes you required a solid product, sometimes you required hollow product, like a plastic ball. Okay, the process required for that plastic will be different. Like, so the plastic, you cannot do it by injection molding. Rather, you require transfer molding or blow molding. Getting it? Okay. So hollow part different. Okay, thin part different process, thick parts different process, intricate shapes different process. Okay. So it depends on the kind of product you required, that what process you are going to follow. Okay, so that we have seen. Again, the joining of the plastic parts also. So that is a, we have seen the right welding of the plastic parts, and the reason also I have told you. Okay, welding or joining of the metallic part is a quite simple case, because like fastening elements you can use their screws, nuts, bolts, right? But here, because of the less density of the plastic, that the fastening will not work properly. Okay, so different kind of joining processes are required. That joining processes we have seen. Okay, mostly joining will be surface to surface. Simple thing. Heat the surface, pressurize it against each other, and it will join to that two surfaces will join. Okay, simple thing. So just a minute. So that was the basic fundamental behind the joining of the process, right? Then we have started with the design of plastic parts, and from that we have completed first tolerance. Then we have gone for allowances, right? While dealing with the tolerance and allowances, I told you one basic major difference between tolerance and allowance, right? Tolerance is because of deficiency. Tolerance is because of limitation. Limitations with respect to a skilled worker, limitations with respect to machine, limitations with respect to material, limitations with respect to manufacturing process. Means whenever we are having this kind of elements, 100% efficiency is not possible. Let it be any kind of skilled worker, he cannot give, or any worker cannot manufacture 100% efficient, exact, accurate part. There are going to be some variations, and to compensate that variation, we have given tolerances. Okay, no any manufacturing process is 100% efficient. Okay, there are going to be some variations. To compensate that variation in the sense, variation in the dimension. Okay, to manage that dimension, we have given the tolerances. Okay, so understand basic difference. Tolerance is because of limitation with man, material, machine, these elements. Okay, manufacturing processes. Allowance is not because of the limitation. Allowance is intentionally given. Allowance is intentionally given to adjust the fits. Okay, so it is a allowance is an intentional difference between basic dimension. Okay, and tolerance is because of limitation, and various kinds of allowances we have seen. Shrinkage allowance, which was a major one. Okay, because of the shrinkage of the parts, and in that also in depth we have discussed about the different kinds of shrinkage: liquid shrinkage, solidification shrinkage, and solid shrinkage. Okay, I told you liquid shrinkage means when it is completely in a liquid state, that time the shrinkage will happen. That is the liquid shrinkage. Solidification shrinkage means, in case of solidification shrinkage, liquid had started converting into solid. Okay, so there are going to be a two phases. Just a minute. Who is there? Right. So in liquid shrinkage, only one phase, liquid phase. In the solidification shrinkage, two phases, liquid plus solid. In the solid shrinkage, there will be only one phase, that is solid. Okay. So that's how the shrinkage will happen. Shrinkage will happen in a three stages: entirely liquid, purely solid, and liquid plus solid. Okay. To compensate that, we have a shrinkage allowance. Okay, and as per this material, it varies, because see, depending on the material, the shrinkage will vary. It depends on the structure of the material. Then we have seen the parameters for the shrinkage. That shrinkage depends on holding pressure, melting temperature, mold temperature, holding time, and obviously on the wall thickness. Okay, this we have shown it, how the shrinkage varies with the different parameters. And then we have started with, is there, okay, then we have started with designing. Okay, now in the last lecture, uh, we have started with this draft design. Okay, now basically, if you see the picture carefully, don't read the sentences that I have given, don't read the description, just see at the figure which is given at the bottom. Okay, now if you see, it is a kind of mold. It is a kind of mold. Now if you look at the mold, you will see that whatever the part you are going to get from this mold is not a tapered part, is not inclined part. Our requirement is that it should be a square part, square or rectangular, I mean a plain surface, and not inclined surface. Now if you check this mold, this two side walls, right side wall and left side wall, it is showing inclined. It is showing inclined. Time being, just think that it is not inclined, it is a plane. Okay, there is no any angular variation. It is a plane, simply like a square or rectangular, right? And you want the same size part, a rectangular shape or square shape. Now what is going to happen, when you will pour the liquid, then it will cool down, it will settle down, it will become hard, it will solidify. When you will try to remove it from the mold, that time what will happen? See, if you see the surface to surface contact, there is a huge surface contact from left side, from right side, from bottom side, from top side also it is going to be there. Okay, so in that case, it is very difficult to remove that part, because as much as contact will be there, as much as surface contact will be there, so on that entire surface there will be a, okay, there will be a continuous contact with the mold surface and component surface. So it is very difficult to remove the component from the mold. To avoid that, this two surfaces of the mold, this left surface and right surface, or the left wall and right wall, it has made inclined. So what will happen? What will happen? See, we want only rectangular plane surface, but it is not made inclined. Increased angle, not a decreased angle. Increased angle. So let the surface be inclined one. But you can easily hold that, and you can easily remove that from the mold. You can easily remove that from the mold. So what is going to happen? Only problem is that this inclination will require extra material. Because of this inclination, the mold capacity has increased to get the material. The mold capacity has increased, so it requires more material. And obviously, when you will remove the component from the mold, you will see inclined surface, which is not the final requirement. Final requirement is a plane surface. So that line surface can be, you can make it a plane by surface finish operation. Okay, by making it by using surface finish operation, you can make the surfaces exactly plane. Okay, right? That will not be an issue. But issue will be that if it is a plain mold, then it is very difficult to remove the part. Okay, so that draft angle is provided. A draft angle is provided. So minimum zero point 0.5 to hardly 2 degree maximum. Okay, so general range is 1 to 2 degree. Okay, one can remove that plastic component from the mold. Okay, so draft is the angle in which the part is tapered to allow it to release. As the part cools, it tends to want to shrink to the core side of the mold. Adding draft helps to part to release. Most of the parts or applications required minimum zero point 0.5 to 1 degree or zero point 0.5 to 2 degree. Okay, so a draft angle is nothing but it is given. This angle will give the access to remove the part from the mold. Correct? So that is what it's called as a draft angle. So while designing this mold, okay, this thing you will have to take care, right? It should be a tapered one with the proper draft angle. So this is what the draft design. Next is a rib design. Okay, so basically by reading this description you will not understand the rib. See this figure, you will get it. Okay, now whatever these protrusions are there, okay, whatever these ribs are there, three ribs are there, okay, understand it carefully. This bottom surface, this rectangular black solid part is actually the wall of the component, okay. Whatever these extrusions are there, whatever these three protrusions are there, this first, second and third, okay, these projections that is coming out from the surface, these three projections are not going to be a part of component or are not required for the component, okay. But what is going to happen, see this extrusions are, this extra material or this extra parts are called as a rib, okay, these extra parts are called as a rib. So because of this, what is going to happen, the first thing is that it will provide stiffness to the component, it will provide stiffness to the component. Now a simple example I will give. In your strength of material, in your strength of material you have studied joints. I think, right, roller joint, okay, fixed joint and pivot joint, okay, that kind of joint, okay. So whenever there is a beam and whenever you are giving support, sorry, not joint, supports, roller support, pivot support, fixed supports, okay. So there you have seen these supports are required to provide the stiffness to the beam. As many supports you will provide to the beam, the stiffness of the beam will be proper. Otherwise what will happen, there is a possibility of bending of the beam. If you provide only support to the end of the beam, there is a possibility of bending of the beam, okay, at the center, right. So this ribs or beam, okay, technically it is called as a rib, will provide will provide the support, or rather I'll say a stiffness to that particular wall, okay. So ribs can be added to the parts to add rigidity or stiffness, okay. Just take a simple example of beam, rectangular beams that you have studied in a strength of material, okay, where you have shown, where you are calculating the reactions, okay, load applied and reactions, okay. So there you have seen a plane support, a roller support, fixed support, okay. So that supports are nothing but these are supports are providing a stiffness to the particular beam, okay, right. So these ribs are required to provide rigidity to the part, okay, rigidity to the part. Now if you see this figure, if you see this figure, just think that this middle rib will not be there, this middle rib is not there, only two ribs are there, one is at the right side, another is the left side, and make it inverted. And if you apply the load on this surface, once you will revert this particular structure and just remove the middle rib, only two ribs, one at right, one at left, and whenever you will apply load on this component on this surface, okay. So see, the right side rib and left side rib will hold the both corners, but what will happen at the center, there is a possibility of bending, okay. So it is mostly, it is or mostly whenever plastic components are designed, the designer will try to have a maximum ribs, okay, and other than having larger ribs, he or she will think to have maximum ribs, okay. Keep it in mind, a thick rib, thick rib is not preferred. See, if suppose there is a rectangular size rib, and size of rectangular is like rectangular, let's take a cylindrical type of rib. Let's think that this rib is of cylindrical shape, and the diameter of cylinder is a 10 millimeter, okay. So rather than 10 millimeter diameter rib at one place, you can keep 2 meter diameter ribs at 5 places. So the best option is having 2 millimeter diameter ribs at 5 places rather rather than having 10 millimeter diameter single rib at one place. Okay, so the first option will give the more rigidity, the first option will give the more stiffness. Okay, so try to have a thin rib, but try to have maximum ribs rather than having less number of ribs with more thickness. Okay, try to have more number of ribs with less thickness. Okay, ribs to have recommended guidelines to maximize functionality and minimize defects. Rib thickness should be less than wall thickness. Fourth statement. Rib thickness should be less than wall thickness. Recommended thickness is 60 to 80% of nominal wall thickness. Come to the point. Okay. See, at the right side I have shown you, maybe you will not able to read it. Okay, here I will see. See this nominal wall thickness. This is the nominal wall thickness, vertically I have shown. So thickness of rib should be maximum up to 60 to 80% of nominal wall thickness. Okay, at the top if you see, it is shown here, 60 to 80% of wall thickness. Okay, so rib thickness, see this kind of questions are generally asked in the MCQ. Okay, rib thickness is preferred 60 to 80% of the wall thickness. Okay, even while designing, while calculating, you will have to take these numbers into consideration. Okay, so rib thickness should be 60 to 80% of nominal wall thickness. See, whatever you are going to add on the surface, it requires material. If more thickness of the rib, see, more thickness of the rib if you prefer, then it will add extra material on the surface. It will increase the weight of the component and it will increase the stresses on the component also. Okay, so hardly maximum 60 to 80% of normal wall thickness. Again, very important fifth statement. Adding more ribs adds more strength or stiffness to a part. It is better to add more ribs than make larger or thicker ribs. Okay, very important what I told you. If you are having 10 millimeter diameter cylindrical rib, rather than you can have 2 millimeter diameter ribs of, I think, 5 ribs. Rather than having 10 millimeter diameter single rib, you can have 2 millimeter diameter 5 ribs. Okay, so if I have to summarize, I'll say rather than having thick rib, go for thin rib with more numbers. Simple. Okay, again, sixth statement required for the designing purpose. Ribs should be spaced at least 2 times the nominal wall thickness. Come to here, this point. Okay, see, the distance between two ribs should be at least double of the wall thickness. Two parameters we have seen. Thickness of rib should be 60 to 80% of wall. Distance between two ribs should be 2 times the wall thickness. Okay, these parameters you require to keep it in mind because it requires for the designing of the component. Okay, two parameters: thickness of rib 60 to 80% of wall thickness, and distance between the ribs 2 times the wall thickness. Last one, rib height should be less than 3 times the nominal wall thickness of the part. Rib height should be less than 3 times the nominal wall thickness of the part. I think this I have not mentioned here. Okay, so maximum height you can consider 3 times the nominal wall thickness. Distance minimum 2 times the wall thickness. Height maximum 3 times the wall thickness. It should be less than 3 times the wall thickness. Okay, three parameters: size of rib 60 to 80% of wall thickness, distance between rib 2 times, height of rib maximum 3 times. Okay, distance 2 times, height maximum 3 times, and thickness 60 to 80% of wall thickness. Okay, that's how ribs. Okay, purpose of rib: to provide rigidity and stiffness to the plastic component. Okay, see, I'm again repeating, ribs are not designed in the final component. Ribs are not designed in the final component, and ribs are not actually the part of design also, and not the neither part of design nor the part of final component. This is only the extra thing which is provided to get the proper rigidity and stiffness. Okay, only with the design aspect, not with the component aspect. Okay, again here is right, here it is given. Okay, rather than having one tall rib, you can go for the multiple ribs. See, thickness of the rib is 60 to 80% of wall thickness. Distance between it is a 2 into t, 2 into t. See, it is shown here. Thickness of the rib they have given 0.5 t, 0.5 t, 0.5 t. So I told you up to maximum 60 to 80%, right? And the distance is 2 times the wall thickness. Okay, so that's how the ribs are required to provide the stiffness or rigidity. The most important part, designing of the wall thickness. Okay, parameters that are considered for designing of the wall thickness. Now wall thickness means what? Let's see. I have the drawing. Okay, see, in this picture you will understand. See, this rectangular part, this rectangular part is nothing but the wall of component. This rectangular part is nothing but the wall of component. Wall of component in the sense surface of the component. Okay, now see, a simple thing. If you check any kind of plastic rods, take the example of toys, take the example of any components of the computer, laptop, mobile. Just take the example of mobile case, mobile cover, which is made from the plastic. Have you seen the thickness? Very less. Okay. See, only it should perform the required function. That is the only aim. If you go for the more wall thickness, it will consume more material, it will increase the weight of the component, it will increase the cost of the component, it will increase the time required to manufacture. Okay, everything. Okay, so wall thickness will be kept as less as possible. Only keep it in mind, this should not be so much less that there should not be proper strength in that wall. Okay, by maintaining the strength parameter, wall thickness is kept as less as possible. Typically, the wall thickness range is 0.5 millimeter to 4 millimeter. 0.5 to sorry, 0.5 to 4 millimeter, depending on the component. Okay, minimum 0.5 millimeter, maximum 4 millimeter. So this is the range of wall thickness. See the third statement. A basic design guideline is to keep wall thickness as thin as possible. And one more thing, as thin as and as uniform as. Two things, as thin as and as uniform as. Okay, why as uniform as, we'll see in the next slide. Okay, but two things, the thickness of the wall of the plastic component should be less. Okay, as less as possible, so as thin as possible and as uniform as possible. And if there is a variation in the thickness of the wall, it should be a gradual variation. We come to this slide, you will understand now. Here, check the first figure. Okay, I will submit. Now if you check it, there is an instant variation in the wall thickness. At the start, just at one side, wall thickness is too large, and at the middle, see, if you check it, it is instantly changed and it is reduced. Okay, so two to three things will happen here. Whenever there is an instant change in the wall thickness, there is a problem with the cooling rate. There is a problem with the cooling rate first. Okay, I will explain that also. Second thing, this instant change in wall thickness will generate sharp corners. If you see in the first figure, there is a continuous sharp corner. Instant change in wall thickness will mostly generate sharp corner, and sharp corner is having a problem of stress concentration. Okay, now stress concentration I will not explain because you have studied it properly in machine design. Okay, stress concentration, right? So that corners generally face straight corners are avoided. You get the example of your chairs, tables, anything. Sharp corners are avoided. The basic reason is stress concentration. So here one more reason is that variation in the cooling rate. Okay, so sharp corners are not recommended. Sorry, instant change in wall thickness is not recommended. Rather than this is recommended. Tapered, slowly or gradual variation. This is better, best. Sorry, this is best. Okay, a very slow variation in the wall thickness. What will happen? Its cooling rate will not affect because of this slow variation. Okay, if there is an instant variation, it is going to have a very instant change in the cooling rate, which will cause the distortion. Now check the three figures at one go. The first one, very instant change in the surface, sorry, wall thickness. Second one, a tapered, and third one, very gradual variation. Okay, now here are the influences. Okay, now see, this type of questions are generally asked in the exam. Influence of wall thickness, what is going to have the effect because of this change in the wall thickness? First thing, okay, from the third point I have shown it, mold filling. So what will happen? See, if there is a uniform wall thickness, consider that there is a uniform wall thickness, so mold will be also uniform, mold cavity will be also uniform, and when liquid molten plastic will come into the mold cavity, it will uniformly occupy all space. Why? Because of the uniformity. Because of the uniformity, it will go uniformly to all the spaces. So voids will not be there. Empty spaces will not be there. So it will uniformly occupy all the space, and there will be a proper wall. There will be a proper surface. Right? That is the thing. Now, if there is a instant change in the wall thickness, instant change in the wall thickness, as shown in the last slide, what is going to happen? First thing is that mold design is going to complicate, and see, molten material will not occupy all the spaces. Getting, so there is a possibility of having empty spaces, voids. Okay, empty spaces and voids. And if you have studied in your machine design or theory of machine, I don't know, I think in machine design, if there are voids in the products inside, okay, if there are voids inside the products, so whenever crack will generate, it will generate from that void. It will generate from that void. Okay, keep it in mind. Whenever there is a crack in the component, mostly the crack generates from that voids. Okay, so that is the issue with the strength. Okay, so first thing, if wall thickness is not uniform, if wall thickness is not proper, see, already you know that plastic materials solidify very fastly. Plastic material solidifies very, very fastly. So if complicated shape, complicated wall thickness, sorry, complicated in the sense instant change in the wall thickness, so that will have effect on the cooling rate, and so that mold filling issue will be there. Okay, it will not filled properly, completely. Okay. Second thing, part weight, as I told, if you increase the wall thickness unnecessarily, up to some limit it is okay, because we required strength also, we required strength in the wall. Okay, after that, if you go on adding the material in the wall, I mean if you increase the wall thickness unnecessarily by thinking that it will be a the strength will be a more. Okay, see, we know the parameter of optimum. Okay, so always it should be preferred to have optimum wall thickness, not lesser nor higher. Okay, if you increase the wall thickness unnecessarily, you need to have extra material, and this extra material which is not required, it will increase the weight of the component. It will increase the weight of the component, right? And weight of the component, see, material requirement is a more, weight will be more, cost will be more. Okay, ultimately it will go to the cost. Okay, second thing, third thing, cooling time. Greater wall thickness, more material required, and more cooling rate. Okay, so cooling rate will be mostly affected because of this wall thickness. Now see, listen carefully. If wall thickness is a more, it will act as barrier for heat transfer. It will act as barrier for heat transfer. So cooling rate will decrease. Cooling rate will decrease. It will take too much time to cool the molten material. It will take too much time to cool the molten material. Okay, so that is the first issue. Second issue, whenever there is a continuous change in the wall thickness, somewhere 10 millimeter, somewhere 5 millimeter, somewhere 6 millimeter, what is going to happen here? The most important issue is that because of change in cooling rate, see, listen very carefully, where there is a 10 millimeter wall thickness, different cooling rate. Where there is a 5 millimeter wall thickness, different cooling rate. Where there is a 15 millimeter wall thickness, different cooling rate. And this variation, entire variation is on the one surface. So on one surface, you are getting three different cooling rate at three different locations. So different cooling rate or different solidification rate, that means different density at different location. Density will be different at different location. It will generate internal stresses. It will generate internal stresses which will finally cause distortion of product. Which will finally cause distortion of product. Okay, understand it, the technicality. If wall thickness is varying, if wall thickness is having variation at different location on the same surface, cooling rate will be different. A different cooling rate will cause difference in the density, and difference in the density and cooling rate will cause internal stresses inside the component, and internal stresses will cause distortion in the component. Okay, ultimately finally this will be the final result. Okay, part cost. Obviously, more is the wall thickness, more is the material required, more will be the cost. Right? So simple thing. Dimensional accuracy. Again, the same thing comes. Different areas of part having different cooling rates, which is typically the case when the wall thickness is high or not uniform. See, internal stresses or residual stresses. Okay, the correct word is the residual stresses. Okay, see now what is going to happen if there is a variation in the wall thickness on the same surface, cooling rate is going to be different, and different cooling rate is causing a variation in the dimension. Obviously, see, whenever there is a uniform surface, it will have uniform cooling rate, uniform solidification, and because of that, uniform surface finish. Uniform surface finish. See, cooling rate will ultimately give you the surface finish. Getting it? Okay, so if it is a cooling rate is varying because of wall thickness, obviously surface finish is going to vary. And surface finish means what? That dimensional accuracy is going to vary. Okay, so it is preferred to have uniform wall thickness. At all, it is not possible because of the design of the component. Mostly, it is tried to have a gradual variation in the wall thickness and not the instant variation. Next is the part performance. As I told, thick sections can cause voids to arise within the wall thickness. Okay, as I told, if there is a thick wall thickness, cooling will not be proper, and possibility of getting voids or empty spaces from which crack originates. From which crack originates, because at the openings there is a possibility of having stress concentrations or the residual stresses, which is the region for generating the crack. And last is a part aesthetics. Okay, part aesthetics I will show you here. Look here, the first figure, top one. When there is a large wall thickness, see this kind of voids are possible, and this void will generate the cracks. This void will generate the cracks. Okay, so more wall thickness, generation of voids. And next is the sink marks. See, this happens because of uneven solidification rate, uneven cooling rate. Okay, uneven wall thickness. One more figure I was having. Just a minute. Okay, I think I have not taken that figure. Okay, let it be. See, two types of major issues for a larger wall thickness. First is void and second is sink marks. The sink marks causes because of uneven cooling rate. See, uneven cooling rate will be because of uneven uniform or uneven wall thickness, right? So basically, if you see the summary, whenever there is a variation in the wall thickness, these kind of factors are going to have mold filling, issue with the mold filling, issue with the part weight, issue with the cooling time, issue with the part cost, dimensional accuracy, part performance, and part aesthetics. And the last one is design of corner. Very simple, as like wall thickness. Just check this figure, you will understand everything. See, a design of corner parts or design of corners. If you check the first figure, exactly a rectangular, okay, exactly a rectangular. Now, this rectangular first thing, rectangular, when it is possible to have this exact corners. See, corner means what? Corner means there is a conjunction of the two surface. When the corner will happen when there is a 90-degree conjunction of two surfaces. When two surfaces will meet each other at 90 degree, there is a corner. Okay, wherever there is a corner, there is a possibility of stress concentration. Okay, first thing, first issue. Now in this figure, if you check thickness, wall thickness, so wall thickness at corner is increased. See, wall thickness at the top rib different, at the bottom vertical rib different, but exactly at the corner, this diagonal it is shown. It is 1.5, 1.4 times more than the side walls. Okay, so more is the wall thickness. See what is happening here. A vertical rib, different wall thickness. At the corner, different wall thickness, and the horizontal tip again different wall thickness. So different wall thickness, uneven wall thickness will cause uneven solidification, uneven cooling rate, and again the same issues which we have seen in the wall thickness case. Okay, so corners are avoided and uniformity will be maintained like this. Are you getting? Okay, make it a quite circular type, oval type. Okay, so avoid the corner and make it this way. So issue of the stress concentration will be minimized, and the issue of the variation in the cooling rate is also minimized. Okay, so that's what the design of corner. Check the statements now. Corners are formed when two surfaces meet to each other. Wall thickness increases by 1.4 times the nominal, results in differential shrinkage. Okay, as I told, cooling rate will be different, shrinkage will be different. Hence, sharp corners are avoided. Okay, so this type of corners are avoided because of increase in wall thickness at the corner, increase in wall thickness of the corner. One more issue. Check here. Okay, problem of sink. Why it is happening? Look here. If you provide this rib of more thickness, rib in the sense which is shown at the bottom. Okay, see, when molten material will be poured inside the mold cavity, because of this more thickness of rib, more solidification or more material will go inside this rib, or it will occupy this rib space. It will occupy this rib space, and cooling across this horizontal rib and cooling across this vertical rib will be different. Cooling across horizontal rib and vertical rib will be different. It has to compensate for the vertical rib also. So there is a possibility of getting this kind of sink. Sink in the sense like a valley. Okay, a slopy section. Okay, so that is the possibility. That is possibility because of difference in shrinkage. Understand the meaning? It happens because of difference in shrinkage. Mostly whenever there is a uniform wall, uniform surface, uniform component, the sinking will not occur. But whenever there is an instant change in component somewhere, this sinking is possible. Okay, what is preferred? Preferred to have less wall thickness, so that it will have shrinkage difference will be less, shrinkage difference will be less. Okay, so this is what preferred. Similar when what we have discussed in case of rib, less thick ribs are preferred. What I told at the time of rib also, rib design also, rather than having one large size rib, prefer to have multiple ribs of small size. That is what mentioned here. Okay, because of this variation in the solidification, which is causing the sink marks, right? So design of corner, prefer to have this kind of shape rather than having a sharp corners. Okay, because it will again result into differential shrinkage, residual stresses, internal stresses. In case of wall thickness, these are the problems: mold filling, part weight, cooling rate variation, part cost, dimensional accuracy. So prefer to have gradual variation in the wall thickness if at all required. Otherwise, go for uniform wall thickness. And in case of ribs, while designing the ribs, prefer to have more number of ribs at 60 to 80% of wall thickness. Distance between the rib, 2 times the wall thickness. Height of the ribs, maximum three times the wall thickness. Okay. So these are the design parameters that which okay. And draft design, draft angle hardly from 0.5 degree minimum to maximum 2 degree, 0.5 to 2, or if option will be of 1 to 2 degree, you can prefer that also. Purpose, the part can be easily released from the mold. Okay, that is only sole purpose. Okay, so that's what the parameters which we want to study today: draft design, rib design, wall design or wall thickness consideration, and design of corners. Okay, design of corners. Okay, see here one more picture I am having it, getting it. Okay, here if you see again more wall thickness at the corner. So rather than having it, make it avoid to have the sharp corners. Avoid to have the sharp corners. Right. In the next lecture, we'll go for the design of undercut. Right. So that's what for the today. Okay, it's time up to just wait. What is remaining? We'll see. Right. So we have seen tolerances. We have gone for allowances, and in the design part, we have gone for wall thickness, corners, ribs. Okay, now remaining is holes, insert, and the mold material. Okay, so in the next lecture we'll go for the inserts and holes and description about the mold material, right? And then we'll go for the design procedure. Right, so just a minute. Okay, so we'll stop here. Just a minute, I will take the attendance. So I think we have a lecture directly on Saturday now. Maybe Friday also there will be one lecture. And on Saturday, if we will be able to complete the basic design requirement before our practical, then in our practical, we'll go for the design of the plastic component. Just a minute. Right, so I will call the numbers. Just listen carefully. Once I'll call the number, you can leave the session. Roll number 1 present, 2 is there, 3 is there, roll number 5 present, 6, 7, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 22, 23, 25, 34, 35, 37, 40, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 49, 50, 51, 53, 55, 57, 62, 63, 64, 65, 67, 68, 70, 73, and 77. Omkar, what is your roll number?
Sir,
60?
60.
60. Okay, okay, ठीक.
Hello, sir. 62.
62, it is marked.
Okay, sir.